What is going on, everybody? It's your boy John, and welcome back to Gearbox. So today we are back in the Mark V Supra for another video, and of course, by the title and thumbnail of this video, you already know what we're about to talk about. Ever since buying this Supra, I've been asked this question a bunch, whether it's from you guys on YouTube, whether it's from friends, family, people I've met at car shows, etc., etc. And really it all revolves around the idea of purchasing a used sports car. Just as a little bit of history on this vehicle, I've now owned this for about a year and a half. I bought it used at, I believe it was like 14,000 miles. So, definitely used for sure. But it wasn't like 70,000 miles to where it's just had the shit beat out of it for however many years and so on and so forth, right? Now, of course, as we all know, there's going to be pros and cons to buying new versus buying used when it comes to especially sports cars. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Now, of course, one of the first things that is going to be brought up when talking around this kind of topic here is going to be the price reduction. And of course, that's a very big one for a big reason. If we're talking a very, very sought after sports car, especially if it's more new than not new, if that makes sense, the car's already going to have hit at least the majority, if not all of its depreciation. Now, this is of course a blessing and a curse. The blessing being you now have access to more higher trim levels than you would have otherwise purchasing new. But of course, when it starts to be, cheaper or whatever we want to say, you really have to have the knowledge on the market value of that car, of that trim level, and of all of the specifics that that car brings to the table. Now, if you're okay with rolling through the analytics, let's call it, of the market, of the car, sure, absolutely. And it does offer a lot of, benefits as far as trim levels. Take this Supra, for example. I have a 3.0 premium trim. I was not under any circumstance going to buy a brand new or used 2.0 four-cylinder, because in my expert opinion, that is a complete bastardization of the Toyota Supra. But because it's used, I was able to get this for a fairly reasonable cost. You even see this when it comes to, the automatic versus manual debate on the Supra specifically. The manual is more expensive, it's a little bit newer, so it hasn't hit all the depreciation, but of course it's still, once again, it's just something to keep in mind. It's just, if you understand the market, if you understand the car you're trying to purchase, there shouldn't be a whole lot of issue with it, but know your stuff, know what you're buying, know what you're going after, and take that and use it to your advantage, and you'll be in a good spot. Now, of course, with all of the pros that come with buying a used sports car, there are cons, and I would argue there are potentially a lot of them. Number one, first and foremost, comes from the overall wear and tear of the vehicle. How did the previous owner or owners treat the car from a maintenance perspective? How did the previous owners drive the car? Were they launching it? Were they just casually daily driving it and liked having a, little maybe weekend car to zip around in? Did they track it? Did they do any crazy modifications? If they did modifications, what shop did they use? Did they DIY it? There's a lot of variables that need to be assessed in this case. When all I know about buying a used sports car is the Supra. My WRX was new. I did not have to worry about it. The Supra was uncharted territory for me. But I lucked out in this case because this car was bone stock. There was nothing done to it, both engine performance-wise, interior, exterior, nothing. It was just enjoyed for what it is. But if you're going to buy a 370Z with the straight pipe, or you're going to buy a Mustang and it all of a sudden has a big blower on it, figure out what the history of that car is, because number one, if it hasn't been maintained properly, you're essentially buying a ticking time bomb. And number two, if this work was done at either a not so reputable shop or done in someone's garage who had no business turning a wrench on that car, that's also more often than not going to turn into a ticking time bomb. In my opinion, if you can find maintenance records, service records, whatever, or even just meeting the owner, you know, if the owner has a car cover on their car, odds are they probably took good care of it, or at least cared about it. Same thing, in my opinion, if a car is sitting in a pristine, clean garage, they probably aren't going to let their cars be dirty and shitty. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of little bits and pieces that you can put together, and whether they're directly related or not, it's going to tell at least 85% of the story with that used car to give you a gut feeling of a yay or a nay as of purchasing. Now, are all of these little tiny variables and stuff foolproof? No, especially when you start talking about the Facebook marketplaces of the world or Craigslist, eBay. You know, there's a lot of not more sketchy sites, but there are a lot of very reputable used car sites, such as like a Bring a Trailer or Cars and Bids, that do a lot of kind of analysis and a lot of paperwork before that car is even posted to validate what car you're actually selling. But if you're just taking someone's word for it, it can be problematic. We've all seen the videos of people putting, you know, plastic back to black restore, you know, trim stuff on cars beforehand. That wears off and it looks like shit. You see people putting seafoam, you know, throughout their engine to stop the leaks and the this and the that. You know, there are, unfortunately, a lot of Band-Aids that people can use to just prove to you for a couple minutes that the car runs well and no issues and I know what I got, don't lowball me type of stuff. But in order to really, truly understand where that car sits as far as overall value and performance from a mechanical perspective, you need to be able to tell that story on the car that you're buying. So, in conclusion, you know, I really don't see a problem with buying a used sports car. Yes, there's a lot of, you know, kind of preconceived notions around it that everything is horrible, don't believe anything you see, you know, it's going to be the worst deal you ever do. And trust me, if I got burnt on a deal like that, yeah, I'd be pretty pissed off and bitter too. But if you go about it the right way, just like anything in life, if you do the research, if you understand what you're talking about, and you're able to ask the right questions, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna dodge all of the bullshit offers that you're getting, or at least the offers that you are potentially putting onto a used car. You're gonna be able to sniff it out rather quick. If you're doing the research, if you're having an open line of communication with the seller or the dealership or whatever, go look at it, go test drive it. Maybe have a third-party mechanic that you trust, you know, do a once-over on the car. I know they do this in aviation all the time. Do it. You know, the better that you feel signing that check and signing that loan or whatever it is from a financial perspective, the better off probably the experience of you owning that car is going to be. Leave no doubt, do your research, and you'll be okay. So, anyway, guys, I know that was a lot of rambling on that topic in particular, but it is something I wanted to throw out here because, once again, I get the question all the time. How do you have a Supra? How'd you do this? How'd you do that? I'm like, listen, you know, I was able to afford it. I was able to jump through the necessary hoops to prove to myself that I was making a good decision as far as which car I was buying. So if I can at least impact one of you guys on making that decision yourself, that's going to be a success in my book. So guys, if you like this video, please give it a big fat thumbs up If there's anything that I maybe missed in this video or other areas that, you know, possibly you would put more of an emphasis on when trying to buy a used sports car, drop them in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. You know the drill. And until next time, peace.